So over the weekend at D23 Brazil, we got a new look at both Captain America Brave New World and the Thunderbolts, both of which look pretty good, although we've heard some interesting things about Captain America Brave New World, and recently they've actually revealed that Anthony Mackie is doing reshoots in LA for the movie. Now, it's not entirely uncommon for there to be reshoots this close to the movie's actual launch date, but this film has been through a lot, and fans are worried, although the new recent trailer did look pretty dang good. So let's hope that these reshoots really do make the movie better, but this is seemingly coming off of some test screenings that Marvel has recently done. Now, they've done test screenings for Captain America Brave New World in the past, and now we have our first reports for the test screenings for the Thunderbolts. And we also do have some plot details from some people who have kind of leaked what they saw. Not huge spoilers, it's pretty much kind of what you expect already from the movie. So I don't think a real spoiler warning is really necessary for this. So at D23 in Brazil, we got a 3-minute trailer showing us new footage of the Thunderbolts. And according to the website maxblizz.com, following D23 and the trailer being released, the first test screening for the Thunderbolts took place. And they have heard from some people who saw the first test screening, who were a part of that group and kind of gauged other people's reactions as well. They say they have received exclusive reactions and insights from insiders. And according to what they heard, the test screenings of the Thunderbolts have been very positive, which is great to hear because that is not what we heard at first for Captain America Brave New World. In fact, they did another round of test screenings for Captain America Brave New World, and the results weren't that different. Now again, the trailer looks pretty amazing, and let's hope that it's not just a really good trailer and the film kind of sucks. Crossing my fingers that's not what's happening here. But when describing Brave New World, Kevin Feige said that there's a lot of the Winter Soldier in it, but according to the people who saw the test screening for the Thunderbolts, there's a lot of that tone in the Thunderbolts movie, which I totally get and feel more than I get from Captain America Brave New World.
Is that Bucky? It's a Winter Soldier.
According to the reports that Max Blizz heard, they say the film features a tone similar to Captain America the Winter Soldier with good action scenes that stand out. And I think that's one thing about the Winter Soldier that really does stand out. The action in it is amazing. From hand-to-hand combat to explosions, it's all done very well. And the story, since we haven't heard anything negative about it, I want to assume is actually at least decent, because for the screenings for Captain America Brave New World, some said the story was kind of all over the place, a bit choppy, but hopefully they've improved on that. I'm not giving up on Captain America Brave New World. I think it could be a great movie. I hope the reshoots help, I really do. But I totally get big Winter Soldier vibes from the Thunderbolts, and I guess it really helps that we have an awesome scene with Bucky riding a motorcycle, really reminded me of the Terminator actually. But when you're going for Winter Soldier vibes, it definitely helps to have the Winter Soldier in the film. And a little bit more was revealed about the film from their source who saw the test screening, and they state the film begins with Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, on a mission, and she is reportedly the main character. And we've kind of heard this already from Sebastian Stan in an interview when he was asked who kind of the spotlight was on, who the main character was. He expressed that Yelena Belova was pretty much the main character. Marvel Studios and a crew of indie veterans who sold out present Thunderbolts, an irreverent team-up featuring depressed assassin Yelena Belova alongside the MCU's least anticipated band of misfits. So it literally just mentions Yelena, so she's definitely looking like she's going to be the main character of this film, which I'm totally here for. But they continue and state there are scenes set in the Red Room, and Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen, has one of the best action sequences in the film. And I could totally see how this would be the case. It seems like they have kind of upgraded Ghost from what we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and her power set honestly is really cool. Her ability to phase in and out no doubt gives us some really good action sequences. Just the one main scene that we've already seen in both trailers that they've released where the Thunderbolts members are fighting each other, that scene's already really awesome, and her character in that scene does some really cool things. Now, they do talk a little bit about the Sentry, but first I do want to mention Taskmaster, because a lot of people have been really asking about her, and it kind of seems like everybody's thinking the same thing here. She's not in a ton of trailer scenes. She's in some, but not a lot, which leads a lot of people to think that she's gonna die. Now, it doesn't say anything about that with this report here, so no spoilers incoming for it, but it is kind of hard to ignore the fact that there's scenes in the trailers where a lot of the group is together, but Taskmaster is not there. Plus, you never actually see her face, and even Ghost, who wears a mask in the fighting, we do see her face in other parts of the trailer. Now, we do know that her face is kind of messed up, so maybe she just wants to keep the mask on at all times, but considering that this is kind of like a Suicide Squad-esque film, and we assume it's going to be a little bit more raunchy, we might be seeing the death of Taskmaster in this, just to kind of set the precedence that they're not all safe. So just a thought there on what people are saying. I do think that unfortunately Taskmaster might be biting the dust in the Thunderbolts, because if you really do look close at all of these scenes in the trailers, she's not in a lot of them. So she either leaves soon to do something or she dies. But now let's go back to Bob, who is Bob Reynolds, aka Sentry, who is going to be played by Lewis Pullman, who also played Bob in Top Gun Maverick. And he's a great actor. He did a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing him as Sentry. We know he's playing Sentry in the movie, so there really isn't a big spoiler here. But the report does say Bob Reynolds, Sentry, wears a comic accurate suit, but with some differences in the film. And this is just a minor spoiler here. If you've read the comics, this is not a spoiler at all, but here's your warning. In the film, Sentry does become the Void in the third act. Again, this is a part of who Sentry is. The Void is a part of Sentry. The Void was born out of the Sentry's psyche, and it comes into being every time that the Sentry uses his powers. It embodies all of the negative aspects of Bob Reynolds. The Void is a dark entity that bonded to Robert Reynolds when he consumed the Golden Sentry serum that turned him into the Sentry. When Sentry first hit the scene and started to become famous, the Void burst out and killed over 1 million people in Manhattan. So the Void is very, very powerful, very dangerous. And I'm assuming it's probably one of the reasons that the Thunderbolts were sent to kill the Sentry in the film. I'm assuming that is what happens. I'm assuming Valentina kind of sets them up to go kill him / get killed, because it is kind of a suicide mission going up against the Sentry, who has the power of 1 million exploding suns, and also the crazy Void that is a part of him. Think of it this way. The serum that was given to Bob Reynolds is supposed to be 100,000 times stronger than the original serum that Steve Rogers got. And that is why we hear Red Guardian and Bucky talking about which serum that they got, because Super Soldier Serum and the Golden Sentry Serum, that's all going to play a big role in the Thunderbolts film. So it's cool that we do get to see the Void, and it looks like Sentry might have been a project that Valentina was working on that went wrong because of the Void. Like they were trying to build basically a Superman, the Sentry, and they did, but the Void latched onto the Sentry, creating a huge problem for Valentina, so she sends the Thunderbolts to kill him. Now, in the comics, when they realize that the Void comes out when the Sentry uses his powers, the Sentry teams up with Reed Richards and Doctor Strange and essentially do what Doctor Strange did in Spider-Man No Way Home. They make it to where everybody on Earth, the entire population, including themselves, including Doctor Strange, Reed Richards, and Bob Reynolds, they make them all forget about Sentry. And when that happens, the Void vanishes. Now, of course, eventually the Void would later on go on to return as Sentry regained his memories. Now, the government wasn't really happy with Sentry because he had this super soldier serum that was a ton stronger than Captain America's, and they considered Sentry very dangerous because they could use his blood to create more of the serum. So just imagine more bad guys out there with the strength of 1 million exploding suns. That's not good. And that could be another reason why Valentina might send the Thunderbolts to kill the Sentry. Now, eventually, Sentry ends up throwing the Void into the sun, but the Void promises to return. There's many ways that they could end this with the Void and the Thunderbolts. However it ends, I hope Sentry sticks around for a long time in the MCU, and I'm glad that the test screenings are really positive because I think this movie is going going to be a home run. I really think they're going to knock it out of the park with this one. It looks great so far, and I'm glad the reviews are positive so far. Let's hope it's great, and let's hope that Captain America Brave New World is great as well. But go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news, leaks, and rumors. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.